I had one hand on the coffee urn when Mia's voice cut across the library book sale. "Grandpa," she said, low enough to sound private and loud enough for 3 tables to hear. "Please don't do this again." I stopped with the paper cup half full. Steam rose between my fingers, drifting over the rows of used hardcovers stacked near the checkout desk. A woman sorting romance novels looked up. 2 volunteers near the donation box went still. Mia stepped closer, her cheeks already red. "You can't keep coming here every Saturday just for free coffee." I felt my hand tighten around the cup, but I didn't answer. My old tan canvas bag hung from my shoulder. The blue library lettering faded almost white. "I'm serious," Mia said. "People notice. Mom notices. Everybody notices." I looked at her then. Not angry, just long enough that she glanced away first. A little boy dragged a box of children's books under a table. The scraping sound filled the silence Mia had left behind. "You don't buy anything," she said. "You stand around. You talk to the librarians. You make it look like you don't have anywhere else to be." I lowered the cup to the table beside the sugar packets. I had worn my good gray jacket that morning, the one Mia gave me 2 Christmases ago. The canvas strap had pressed a crease into the sleeve. "Mia," I said softly. "No, Grandpa." She reached toward my arm, then stopped when she noticed people watching. "I'm trying to help you. I don't want people feeling sorry for you. That hurt worse than the coffee comment." I kept my face still, but my fingers slipped from the cup like it had grown too heavy to hold. Across the room, Denise Caldwell looked up from the circulation desk. She didn't rush over. She didn't make a scene, but something in her expression changed. I noticed it. So did Mia. The whole book sale had gone quiet in a strange way. Not shocked. More like everybody else knew something Mia didn't. I adjusted the strap of my canvas bag. It felt heavier than usual against my shoulder. "I'll head out," I said. Mia let out a breath, almost relieved. "Thank you." I stepped away from the coffee table without taking the cup. I had almost reached the front aisle when Denise came out from behind the desk, holding a small stack of index cards against her chest. "Walter," she called gently. I stopped. Denise looked at me, then at Mia, then back at me. "You forgot your Saturday route cards." I stood in the front aisle with my hand still on the strap of my canvas bag. For a second, nobody moved. Even the woman by the romance novels stopped sliding books into rows. Mia looked at the cards in Denise Caldwell's hands, then back at me. "His what?" Denise did not step closer fast. She walked the way librarians do when a room is already too loud without sound. "Walter's Saturday route cards," she said. Mia gave a small laugh, but there was no humor in it. "I'm sorry. I don't know what that means." Denise looked at me first, not Mia. That mattered. I gave her the smallest nod I could manage. Denise turned one card around, keeping her thumb over the middle of it. "Your grandfather is one of our registered homebound-delivery volunteers." Mia blinked. "Registered?" "Yes." Denise's voice stayed calm. "He signs in. He carries library materials. He brings them back. Every Saturday he is able." Mia's eyes dropped to my bag. A minute earlier, that bag had made me look like an old man who stayed too long. Now she looked at it like it had changed shape while she wasn't paying attention. "I didn't know that," she said. I wanted to say, "You never asked," but I kept it behind my teeth. Denise held the stack against her cardigan. "I can't show you private patron information, Mia, but I can tell you this much. Walter has a route here." The word route hung there. One of the volunteers near the donation box bent down and pretended to straighten a box that was already straight. Mia folded her arms, then unfolded them. "Mom said he just comes here because he gets lonely." Denise did not answer that right away. She glanced at the coffee cup I had left on the table, still full enough to steam. "Walter does enjoy talking to people," Denise said, "but that is not why he is here." That was the first mercy anyone gave me that morning. Mia's face changed, just slightly. Not apology yet, not understanding, more like the first crack in a window. "So those cards are for him?" she asked. Denise nodded once. "They're his Saturday cards." Mia looked at me. "Grandpa?" I could hear the question inside that one word. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't Mom know? Why did you just stand there and let me say all that? I looked down at the strap cutting across my jacket sleeve. "Denise keeps the cards," I said. "I carry the bag." Denise shifted the stack in her hands, and one corner caught the light. That was when Mia noticed what I already knew. The cards weren't new. Their edges were soft, worn down by fingers and Saturdays, with old dates written along the sides like a trail she had never seen. Denise didn't hand the cards to Mia. She turned toward the circulation desk and said, "Come over here a moment. I'll show you what I can." Mia followed first. I stayed where I was until Denise looked back at me. "It's all right, Walter," she said. "Only the system." That was Denise's way. Careful with people. Careful with paper. Careful not to turn someone's private life into a lesson for somebody else. I walked over slowly and stood beside the desk, close enough to see the cards, far enough that Mia didn't feel crowded. Denise laid 3 cards flat on the counter, then placed a blank checkout slip over the middle of each one. Names, addresses, phone numbers, covered. Mia leaned in. "Why are you covering them?" "Because they're not yours," Denise said gently. Mia's face tightened, but she nodded. "What I can show you," Denise continued, "is how the route is organized." She pointed to the top corner of the first card. There were small boxes marked by day. Saturday had a blue line under it. Below that, Walter H. appeared in Denise's neat handwriting. Mia glanced at me, then back at the card. Denise moved her finger to the side margin. "These are delivery dates. These are return reminders. These are material preferences." "Material preferences?" Mia asked. "Large print, audiobook, mystery, biography, things like that." She stopped there. "No names, no stories, no full details." Still, it was enough to make Mia quiet. On the second card, the corners had gone soft. The ink had faded from black to gray where hands had touched it again and again. Mia noticed. "How old are these?" Denise looked at me before answering. "Some routes change," she said. "Some don't." That was the kindest answer she could have given. Mia stared at the worn edges. Her shoulders were no longer squared like she was defending herself. They had dropped just a little. I could hear the book sale behind us waking back up in pieces. A box sliding, coins dropping into a donation jar, someone whispering too loudly and then stopping. Denise pulled one card from the bottom of the stack and kept most of it covered with her palm. "There's one note I think Walter would not mind you seeing," she said. I knew the note before she turned it. Denise uncovered only the bottom line. The handwriting was shaky, darker than the rest, pressed hard into the card. Mia read it once, then again. "Please send Walter if possible." Mia kept looking at that one line on the card until Denise covered it again. "Please send Walter if possible." Nobody said anything for a moment. Then Mia turned toward my canvas bag like she was seeing it for the first time. "What's in there?" she asked. I looked down at the old tan canvas hanging from my shoulder. The bottom corner had been patched twice, and the zipper pull was tied with a short pencil on a piece of string. "Library things," I said. Mia swallowed. "Can I see?" Denise did not answer for me. She stepped back from the counter and folded her hands, leaving the choice where it belonged. I set the bag on the end of the circulation desk. The canvas made a soft, heavy sound against the wood. Mia flinched a little, maybe because it weighed more than she expected. I unzipped only the top. No names, no addresses. Nothing that belonged to anyone else more than it belonged to the library. Just enough. Mia leaned closer and saw the spine labels first. Large print books, thick and wide, with rubber bands around 2 of them so the request slips would not fall out. Beside them were audiobook sleeves in clear plastic, each one tucked carefully into a return pocket. There were folded slips, a few bookmarks, and a stack of checkout receipts clipped together with an old black binder clip. Mia reached toward one of the slips, then stopped. "May I?" I nodded. She picked it up by the corner like paper had suddenly become breakable. The printed line said "Mystery, large print if available." Under it, in my handwriting, I had written the same thing again, larger and darker. Mia stared at the words. I could see her remembering what she had said by the coffee table. "You stand around. You talk to the librarians. You make it look like you don't have anywhere else to be." Denise's voice stayed quiet. "Walter rewrites some notes so they're easier to read when the materials go out." Mia looked at me. "You wrote this?" "Just copied it bigger," I said. She turned the slip over. On the back was one more note in my block letters. "No tiny print this week, please." Mia's mouth opened, but nothing came out. The book sale carried on behind us, but farther away now, like we had stepped behind glass. She looked into the bag again. This time she did not look embarrassed by it. She looked afraid of what else she had missed. Then her fingers found another folded request slip tucked between two large print books. She opened it slowly, and her eyes stopped on the handwriting beside the printed note. Mia was still holding the folded request slip when her phone buzzed on the counter. She looked down, and I saw my daughter's name on the screen. Karen Harris. Mia didn't answer it. She turned the phone over fast, like hiding the name would hide the sound of it. Denise noticed, but she said nothing. She gathered the root cards into a neat stack and kept them close to her side. Mia looked at me. "Mom said you just needed something to do on Saturdays." I kept my hand on the canvas bag. "She said since you retired, you started hanging around places too much," Mia continued. "The diner. The library. The senior center sometimes," I nodded once, "because those were places I went." Mia's face tightened. "She said you don't like being alone." The words were not sharp this time. They came out uncertain, like she was repeating directions and realizing the road signs did not match. Behind us, someone dropped coins into the donation jar. The sound made Mia glance toward the coffee table, where my cup still sat untouched beside the sugar packets. "I thought." She stopped and looked at the large print slips in her hand. "I thought maybe you didn't know how it looked." That almost made me smile, but not in a happy way. "How did it look?" I asked. Mia rubbed her thumb along the fold of the slip. "Like you were trying to be noticed." Denise lowered her eyes to the root cards, giving us privacy without leaving the desk. I could have defended myself. I could have told Mia her mother was busy, tired, and wrong in the easy way people are wrong when they talk about old men in kitchens. Instead, I zipped the canvas bag halfway closed. Mia looked hurt by that, which surprised me. "I'm not saying Mom meant it bad," she said quickly. "She worries about you. We both do." "I know," I said. That was true enough to be painful. Denise picked up the stack of root cards and tapped the bottom edge against the counter until they were even. The soft thud pulled Mia's eyes back to them. "How long?" Mia asked. Denise looked at me first. I didn't answer. Mia's voice dropped. "How long has he been doing this?" Denise held the cards against her cardigan. "Long enough that Saturdays are planned around him." Mia stared at the old dates written along the card edges. Then Denise looked toward the untouched coffee cup and said quietly, "Your grandfather has missed family lunches to make that route." Mia stood there with my daughter's name still dark on her phone screen and Denise's words sitting between us. Missed family lunches. She looked at me like she wanted me to deny it. I didn't. "Grandpa," she said, "why didn't you tell us?" I looked at the canvas bag, half zipped on the counter. A corner of an audiobook sleeve stuck out where I had not tucked it back in. "Some things don't get bigger because you announce them," I said. Mia swallowed. "That's not fair." "No," I said. "It isn't." Her eyes lifted quickly, like she thought I meant her. Maybe I did. Maybe I meant all of us. Denise moved with quiet purpose behind the desk, sliding the Saturday cards into a rubber band. She did not offer Mia more. She did not make the moment easier than it had earned. Mia looked at the cards. Is he supposed to leave now? Denise glanced at the clock above the checkout desk. Walter usually starts before noon. Usually. That word did more damage than a long explanation could have. Mia looked around the library sale, at the volunteers who were trying not to listen, at the coffee cup I had left untouched, at the bag she had misunderstood 10 minutes earlier. Can I come with you? She asked. The question was quiet enough that only Denise and I heard it. I kept my hand on the zipper of the bag. Why? Mia blinked. Because I want to see. That's not enough. Her face colored again, but this time it wasn't embarrassment. It was the sting of being told no in a room where she had been so certain. I want to understand, she said. I looked at her for a long moment. There was my granddaughter, 24 years old, tired around the eyes, dressed like she had somewhere else to be, standing beside a book sale counter with her confidence falling apart piece by piece. I loved her. That did not make what she said disappear. Denise set the banded route cards beside my bag, then stepped back. Walter decides who goes with Walter. That was the whole truth of it. Mia's hand hovered near the canvas strap. She did not touch it. I'm sorry, she said. I nodded once. I heard you. The words hurt her. I could tell, but I needed her to hear the space between sorry and repaired. I slid the route cards into the outside pocket of the canvas bag and zipped it closed. Then I lifted the bag onto my shoulder. Mia waited. I looked at her and said, not because you feel bad. Come if you mean it. Then I turned toward the library doors. Mia followed me through the library doors without saying another word. Outside, the late morning air felt colder than it had when I walked in. I adjusted the canvas bag on my shoulder, but before I could take another step, Mia reached out. Can I carry it? I looked at her hand, then at her face. She did not grab for it. She waited. I slipped the strap from my shoulder and handed it over. The bag dropped lower than she expected, pulling her arm down. Oh, she said. I started walking. She caught up beside me, holding the strap with both hands now. It's heavier than it looks. Most things are. She looked at me, but I kept my eyes on the sidewalk. The first house was only 6 blocks from the library. A small yellow place with a metal handrail by the steps and wine chimes hanging crooked from the porch. Mia slowed when she saw me reach into the outside pocket of the bag. I pulled out the top route card, keeping my thumb over what didn't need showing. This one? She asked. I nodded. Mrs. Alvarez. Mia glanced toward the house. Does she know I'm coming? No. That made her stop. I turned to her. I introduce you. She decides the rest. Mia nodded quickly, like she understood the rule before she understood the reason for it. We climbed the steps. Before I could knock, the curtain in the front window moved. The door opened a crack, then wider. Walter, Mrs. Rosa Alvarez said, smiling like Saturday had finally arrived. You're early. Only by 9 minutes, I said. She laughed and looked past me at Mia. Not suspicious, just curious. This is my granddaughter, Mia, I said. She asked to come along today, Mrs. Alvarez studied Mia for one quiet second. Then she opened the door wider. Then she can carry the mysteries to the table. Mia looked at me, surprised, and I nodded toward the bag. She pulled out 2 large print books with rubber bands around them. Her hands were careful now, not because Denise was watching, but because someone was waiting. Mrs. Alvarez took the first book and ran her fingers over the cover. You remembered the author. You wrote it down last week, I said. You remembered where I wrote it, she answered. Mia set the second book on the small table by the door. There was a saved checkout slip beside a plate covered with a napkin. Mrs. Alvarez lifted the napkin. Walter, I put your cookies by the window like always. Mia looked from the cookies to me, then to the open door, and the question on her face changed completely. This was never just a delivery. Mia carried the canvas bag back down Mrs. Alvarez's steps with both hands. She did not complain about the weight this time. She kept one palm under the bottom, like she was afraid something important might fall through. At the corner, her phone buzzed again. She looked at the screen, and I saw Karen's name flash across it before Mia turned it against her coat. "You can answer," I said. Mia shook her head. "Not yet. I did not ask why." Some silences were better left to walk beside us. The next stop was 3 streets over, a brick duplex with an old pickup in the driveway and a porch chair facing the road. Before we reached the steps, a man's voice called through the screen door. "That you? Walter? It's me, Amos." The door opened slowly. Amos Reed stood behind it with one hand curled around the frame, his knuckles swollen and stiff. His eyes went to Mia, then to the bag. "New helper?" he asked. "My granddaughter," I said. "Mia, this is Amos Reed." Mia gave a small nod. "Nice to meet you, sir." "Sir makes me sound like I can still bend my knees," Amos said. "Set that bag on the bench before it drags you down." Mia almost smiled. I pulled the route card from the outside pocket and kept the private line covered. The top corner had a small mark beside audio and another beside Western. Mia noticed both. Amos lifted a grocery bag from beside the chair with slow fingers. Inside was last week's audiobook sleeve, the plastic rubbed dull from use. "Finished it Thursday," he said. "Couldn't sleep, so I let the cowboy ride all night." Mia took the bag from him carefully. I opened the canvas bag and handed her the new audiobook sleeve. "Check the title." She read it, then looked at Amos. "Another Western?" "Walter knows I don't want romance unless somebody gets chased by a horse," Amos said. That made Mia laugh once, soft and surprised. Then Amos held up his hands, palms inward. His fingers would not fully straighten. "Books got too heavy a while back," he said. "Pages don't turn right for me anymore." Mia's laugh disappeared. I said, "This one's 12 discs." I marked the first sleeve. Amos nodded. "And he remembers what I've heard. Librarians got computers, but Walter's got the list in his head." Mia looked down at the route card still in my hand. Along the edge, under my thumb, was a long row of small check marks beside titles she had never known existed. Mia was quiet after Amos Reed's house. She carried the canvas bag against her hip now, not like a burden, but like something she had been trusted with. Every few steps, her fingers touched the zipper, checking that it was still closed. Our third stop was a white bungalow with blue shutters and a porch crowded with potted plants. A wind spinner turned slowly near the railing, catching little flashes of sun. "Evelyn Shaw," I said. Mia looked at the route card in my hand. I kept the private lines covered, but she could see the note at the bottom. "Write dates large." She read it, then looked away. Before I knocked, the door opened. Evelyn Shaw stood there in a lavender sweater, thin as a bookmark, with silver hair pinned neatly behind one ear. Her eyes went straight to the bag. "Walter Harris," she said. "Tell me you found the piano book." "I did," I said. "And 2 others, in case that one's too small." Evelyn smiled. "That's why I wait for you." Mia shifted the bag forward. "I can get them," I nodded. She pulled out a large print music memoir, then another book with a bright yellow sticker on the spine. Her hands slowed when she saw the checkout slip tucked inside the cover. The return date was written in my block letters, dark and wide across the top. Evelyn noticed Mia staring. "He does that because I pretend I can read the little print." "You don't pretend very well," I said. She laughed and waved us inside only as far as the front table. On it sat a round cookie tin, the kind that once held butter cookies. Evelyn opened it and turned it toward Mia. Inside were checkout slips, dozens of them, folded once, stacked by month. Mia looked at me. "You kept these?" "I did," Evelyn said. "He writes the dates so I don't have to call the library and feel foolish." Mia's face tightened. Evelyn touched the top slip with one finger. "A person can lose a lot of little dignities before anyone notices." The room went still around that sentence. Mia placed the new books on the table carefully. "I didn't know he did all this." Evelyn looked at her for a long moment, then smiled softly. "You must be Mia." Mia froze. I felt the air change before she spoke. Evelyn tilted her head toward me. "Are you the granddaughter he talks about?" By the time we walked back to the library, Mia was carrying the canvas bag like it belonged in both hands. She did not ask if she could give it back. She did not check her phone. Inside, the book sale had thinned out. A few paperbacks remained on the folding tables, and my coffee cup still sat by the sugar packets, cold and untouched. Mia saw it, then looked away. Denise Caldwell was behind the circulation desk, stamping returns with the same quiet rhythm she always had. When she saw us come in, she did not smile too big or ask what had happened. She only said, "You made good time." Amos talked less than usual, I said. From behind me, Mia gave a small laugh. It surprised all three of us. We set the canvas bag on the end of the desk. Mia unzipped it before I could, then stopped and looked at me for permission. I nodded. One by one, she took out the returned audiobook sleeve, the large print books, the folded request slips, and the checkout slips Evelyn had sent back in a small rubber band. Denise checked each item without showing Mia anything private. She covered names with her fingers and read only what belonged to the work. "Returned on time," Denise said. "Renewal requested. New large print hold needed." Mia lined the slips in neat rows. Then she noticed a small stack tucked inside the front pocket of the bag. "What are these?" I looked at Denise. Denise looked at me. I reached in and pulled them out myself. Thank you cards, not many, tied with a blue rubber band that had nearly lost its stretch. Mia did not touch them. "May I?" I untied the band and handed her the top one. It had no full name on the front, just shaky handwriting and a little drawing of a book with wheels. Mia opened it slowly. Her eyes moved across the card. Her mouth pressed tight, and she closed it with more care than she had opened it. Denise set the Saturday route cards beside the return pile. Walter's route is part of why the homebound program still works. People trust him. Mia looked at the cards, then at the bag, then at the book sale tables where people had sorted donations all morning. Everything was there except a place for what Walter brought back. The returns were balanced on the end of the circulation desk, squeezed between sale money, bookmarks, and a half-empty box of donated mysteries. Mia turned toward the wide-open room, seeing it differently now. Then she looked at the empty space beside the book sale sign. The next Saturday, I reached the library 10 minutes later than usual on purpose. I told myself it was because my knee was stiff, but that wasn't the truth. The truth was I wanted to see whether Mia would come because she meant it, or because one hard afternoon had made her feel guilty. When I pushed through the front doors, the book sale was already waking up. Boxes of paperbacks sat under the folding tables. Denise Caldwell was behind the circulation desk with the Saturday route cards stacked beside her elbow. Mia stood near the empty space by the sale sign. For a second, I did not recognize what she had made. Then I saw the small folding table, the neat stack of return slips, the pencil cup, and a handwritten card that said only "Homebound Returns." No names, no addresses, nothing private. Just a place. Mia looked up when she heard my cane tap the floor. She did not rush over. She did not start apologizing in front of everyone. She only picked up the canvas bag from the table beside her and held it out with both hands. "I checked with Denise first," she said. "She said this part was okay." Denise gave me one calm nod from behind the desk. I looked at the table again. A volunteer who had heard Mia shame me the week before was now setting large print books beside the return basket without saying a word. That was the first thing that loosened in my chest. Mia swallowed. "I didn't touch the cards." "I see that," I said. Her eyes moved to my face, careful and uncertain. The room was not silent like last time. It was quieter in a different way. The way people get when they know something important is happening and do not want to crowd it. Mia opened the canvas bag and took out the returned audiobook sleeves. She placed them in a row, spine labels facing Denise, then set the large print slips beside them. She had remembered the order. Denise came around the desk with the route cards held close. her thumb covering the private lines out of habit. "Walter, I have today's stack ready when you are." Mia stepped back, giving me room. That mattered more than any speech would have. I moved to the small table and rested one hand on its edge. Last week, that space had held nothing but an accusation and a cold cup of coffee. Now it held the work. Mia looked at the canvas bag, then at Denise's cards, then back at me. Her voice was steady, but I could hear what it cost her to ask it in front of people. "Grandpa," she said, "where do you want the root cards?" I did not answer Mia right away. I looked at the small homebound returns table, then at the canvas bag in her hands, then at the Saturday root cards held carefully against Denise Caldwell's cardigan. A week earlier, Mia had looked at that same bag like it was proof I had nowhere better to be. Now she stood beside it like she understood it was work. "Put them by the pencil cup," I said. Mia nodded once, then moved the pencil cup 2 inches to the left so the cards would sit flat. She did not make a speech, and she did not look around to see who noticed. That helped. Denise placed the stack down with the private sides turned inward. "This will make returns easier," she said, professional as always, but her voice was softer than usual. Mia touched the edge of the table. "I should have asked you, Grandpa." "Yes," I said. Her face tightened, but she did not run from the word. I stepped closer to her, lowering my voice so the room did not own what belonged between us. "I'm glad you came today, but I need you to ask before you decide what my life means." Mia looked down at the canvas bag. "I will," she said. And not just today. I believed she meant it. I also knew meaning it once was not the same as living it. So I nodded, and that was all I gave her. The rest of the morning moved in small, ordinary pieces. Mia sorted returns, checked empty sleeves, and asked before touching anything that did not belong to her. When the sale slowed, Denise came back from the desk with one card in her hand. She did not announce it to the room. She simply placed it on top of the stack where Mia and I could see. Walter Harris, Mia Harris, Saturday Root. Mia stopped breathing for a second. I looked at Denise. "You sure?" Denise smiled faintly. "Only if you are." I picked up the card. It was clean, stiff, and new. Nothing like the worn ones underneath it. No history on the edges yet. No soft corners. No Saturday marks. That would come later, if Mia kept showing up. I tapped the card once against the table, the way I always straightened a stack before putting it away. Then I slid it into the front pocket of the canvas bag. Mia watched my hand move to the zipper, where the short pencil still hung from its piece of string. I untied it slowly and held it out to her. She took it with both hands. Outside, the library doors opened, and the Saturday light came across the book sale tables, falling on the bag between us like a quiet promise.